a special unicorn. I got a new.
I do forget that all the time. You know what? With that in mind, then cheers, ladies and gentlemen. We have reached the magic number of 21, and we are going to charter this club, and hopefully it'll be before July 1st, and as soon as I can get things lined up with Rotary International this week. Very exciting. Tonight, our speaker is, you know what? Before I forget that, moving on from there, those of you that have not yet voted on our club officers, I'd sent that email out this afternoon with a connection to do that, as well as the meeting time place thing. Please, if you haven't already gone through those, it takes just a couple minutes. Do those, please.
Jerry, don't forget to record.
And there's Sarah joining us, too. This is great. I've got the record running. This is awesome.
Are we ready?
Yes. Actually, Sarah, is she joining us with video or not? Sarah, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Hello.
Hey, welcome aboard.
Thanks. My first meeting in, I think, 6 months I've been involved.
Well, it's very nice to have you on board. I don't know if you just came on and didn't hear the announcement. We hit 21 today, and we're going to charter.
Great. Excellent.
Really exciting. And I don't know if you saw it. There's a form that I sent you that I've got to get filled out.
I'll look for it right now.
Yeah, okay. Get that filled out, and then we'll go from there. Tonight, everybody, I'm going to put you back on mute. Okay, good. Tonight, Amanda is our speaker. Amanda is a former youth exchange student. In fact, I met her when she was 15 or 16 years old. She grew up in locally here where I live. We had an exchange student back then in our house named Esteban Sosa from Ecuador, and he was one of my friends, and through him, Amanda got a hold of me and says, how do I become an exchange student? And I'm very proud of the wonderful woman she's become, and I'm very thrilled that she's joining our club and excited to hear what she has to say tonight. And I'm going to turn it over to Amanda.
Thanks, Jerry. I am going to correct you. I think Anais was first, right?
Oh, it was, yeah.
So I'm going to go through. I've got some slides, so I'm going to share because I like to just show you pictures and make you forget that I said dumb things. So I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to give you these guys. How does that work? Can you guys see those slides? Yeah?
Yep.
I think so, yes.
All right. So I entitled this, Talking About Yourself is Hard. Mostly a bunch of pictures to avoid embarrassing spelling mistakes in public. That's me. So actually, this is me, really. This is John and Maggie and Mike. They are my entire world. They're a little bit silly. Not that this would surprise anybody who knows us well, right? But they are a little bit silly. They are, Jonathan here will be 17 in September, and Miss Maggie will be 14 in July. This is how they are when you ask them to take a picture. But truthfully, this is how they are when you ask them to take a picture. A little bit about me. I've been a rugby coach for about 7 years. I started the Loudon, Virginia, we're in Northern Virginia, the Loudon Girls Program. We actually helped found the entire youth program for Loudon. We were sitting at about 300 strong. We went from 0 to 300 in 2 years. It was absolutely insane and nearly unmanageable. My girls down here in red did not score a touchdown for 2 full years. And then in the 3rd year, when all of my middle school girls became high school girls, we won a state championship. They're an amazing group of kids. I still talk to them. 2 of them are married. One of them had a baby the other day. That doesn't make you feel old. I don't know what will. These guys up here in the yellow and black are the Colorado College women's team. My husband and I coached them for 2 years when we got out to Colorado. Very proud of that. Michael is an amazing coach, and he's a great leader. He was able to take a program that was toxic and bleeding players. I think we took over where there were 15 players in the fall. In the spring, we had 65, and we came in 2nd in the nation. He is, I can't say enough about how amazing he is. and how great that experience was. This is my other child, Dania, who is named after the city that I lived in Spain, who looks very shy and unassuming here right before she sneaks into the kitchen and throws trash everywhere. I like to think that once upon a time I played rugby as well. I did until September when I was unceremoniously retired by a national level player who tackled me beautifully and put my head against the turf. And occasionally I sing. I'm not doing that currently, but I think this might be something that Jerry doesn't know. I tried out for American Idol twice. Did you know that, Jerry? It obviously went really well, which is why I'm sitting here in my office in Tyson's Corner and not in Hollywood. It was fun though. Delta Spurs, a country band that I helped found. They replaced me with some guy and now they're like really, really good and they're recording and stuff. But I like to pretend like I will one day be on that I Remember When or Where Are They Now show that's on MTV. I am proud owner of Jeepy McJeepface, my Jeep that just turned 200,000 miles. I do most of the work on her when I have the time. So that's who I am now. I'm gonna go kind of quickly through the how I got here piece because there's some not fun stuff that happened first. I live very much by a mantra of you can let the things that happen to you define who you are, or you can let them shape who you become. I am not someone who believes in everything happens for a reason, but I do believe that you have a reason to make the most out of everything that happens. Everything goes into two buckets. You either emulate it or you avoid doing that again. I usually put that a little bit more crass. It's two buckets, either do that again or shit, don't do that again. You know, those are the two buckets. My motorcycle roots run deep. My mom is the second from the left. This was taken in Sturgis in '87. My stepdad on the left, Jerry, I think you know his mom, Dora Spangler. That's my stepdad. Jerry went to church or still does go to church with Dora in the Presbyterian church in our small town in Holly. The other woman.
I don't know where she moved to. I haven't seen her in a long time.
She's been down south in Florida. You know how it goes. You get on 75 and you drive till it ends. That's how it goes. So she's down in Tampa, just outside of Tampa. The other woman there is one of my mom's 6 sisters. My mom is one of 9 children, 7 redheaded girls and a boy on either end, who all graduated from the same high school I graduated from. So I've chosen the latter. I've chosen to let the things that have happened to me shape who I've become. I don't have any slides for this one. I'm not going to share any pictures. My mom was killed by a drunk driver when I was 13. When I was in 8th grade, she was taken from me. We bounced around a bit. My baby sister was just turned 3. My brothers were, how old were we? 9 and 8. We got split up. My sister and I went with an aunt who was abusive. And again, like I said, you let things shape you. I ended up, after bouncing a bit, freshman year, 2 weeks into freshman year, I moved to Holly. I moved to Holly 2 weeks into freshman year, and I decided I don't know anybody here, and I don't want to be the band geek anymore, so I'm going to be the choir and theater geek. And I tried out for the play at Holly High School. So that's a very short version of what happened there. So I was in plays from freshman year, sophomore year. Junior year, I was doing a play, and Anais, the French exchange student who happened to be living with Jerry, was like, "Hey, can you give me a ride home from play practice?" They insert French accent. I can't do French accent. So I did. I took her home from play practice, and I got there, and Jerry Jackson was like, "Hey, you ever heard of Rotary?" And he inserted plotting and scheming at this point. And I in my mind, I feel like he handed me a packet of papers and they were due like the next day. I can't remember exactly what it was, but in my mind, that's how I've put it together. So I went home and I kind of roused my dad, who was definitely asleep on the couch. And I'm like, "Hey, can you sign this?" And he did. And I became an exchange student. And it was life-changing. And I could speak for I could speak for months on all the things that I learned, but I'm going to kind of condense it into a few slides. turned that stuff in, became an exchange student, and Mrs. Quintanilla, who's one of Jerry's neighbors as well, was like, hey, you should move up to Spanish 4. And then I was in way over my head for an entire semester of Spanish 4 when I hadn't even started Spanish 3, but she was bound and determined that I was going to go to Spain and really be able to communicate. And she was right. I was 100% able to ask for the bathroom and the library. And I got to Spain and realized that I didn't go to Spain where they speak Spanish. I went to Spain where they speak Valenciano, which for anybody who's not familiar is kind of like teaching us Latin and then expecting us to speak Spanish when we get there. I met these 3 amazing, incredible women who were absolutely instrumental in making my exchange just one of the most formative, informative, and amazing experiences I've ever had. My host mom, Pilar, was a single mom. Carolina, who's up top, is my host sister. She was 20 at the time. And Monica was on exchange to South Carolina. So I didn't meet her just yet. Pilar is the most patient and intelligent, well-spoken, most caring woman I've ever met in my entire life. She would let me talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk back. And then she'd stop and say, okay, we just had this amazing conversation. These are all the things you need to fix. And she'd fix all of my grammar. And she's the one that taught me that part of learning a language is being A-okay with sounding stupid, because it's just going to happen as long as you make mistakes and fix them. So Carolina, like I said, was 20 years old. She was a hostess on the ferry that went from the mainland to Ibiza in Mallorca. So Jerry, thanks for that. That was probably the most awesome placement any exchange student would hope for. So I went to the local tourism school from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. every day, and I probably learned more Spanish than a heck of a lot of other Spanish exchange students, because I partied my absolute butt off from 10 p.m. until 8 a.m. every day. Within the legal limits. What were the rules? No boyfriends, no alcohol. I didn't have much of those. So when I got home, I was a senior in high school when I came home, and I decided that I kind of was ready to move on from Holly, Michigan, wanted to see the big old world. I decided that I really liked languages. I was pretty good at them. I wanted to be a translator. That's all I knew, that the military had translators, and I had heard that they had a pretty amazing language school. So I went to an Air Force recruiter and I said, hey, I want to be a translator. And he said, hey, I'm not going to waste my time with you. Quote, you're not going to score high enough on the ASVAB to even take the language exam. End quote. So most people would say, oh, at that point, you must have just hung your head and gave up. And I say, you don't know me very well. So at that point, I went to the Navy. And the Navy said, absolutely. Hey, did you ever sleepwalk when you were a kid? And I was like, well, yeah, everybody was a sleepwalker when they were a kid, right? They're like, no, they're not. We can't. So I went to the Army recruiter, and the Army recruiter, I went to the Army recruiter armed with some information from Mr. King, who was a substitute teacher at Holly High School. His daughter was also in the play with me and Anais, ironically. And I was lamenting to him how rude the Air Force recruiter had been, and he laughed and said, hey, I'm a Chinese linguist in the Army Reserve. So when I went to the Army recruiter, I said, hey, Mr. King gave me this piece of paper, and he says I should be a 9-8G. And the Army recruiter, who was a tanker, said, I have no idea what that is. And he looked it up in his big book, and he got a big smile on his face, and he said, but I get a good bonus for it. So he definitely let me take the ASVAB. I did very well on the ASVAB, thank you. And I did score pretty well on the language exam as well. So I joined the Army. When I was 18 when I joined, 19 when I went to basic training. That's me at 19 years old on the left. Very happy 21 years old on the right when I finally finished all of my training for 2 full years, a full 63 weeks in Monterey, California, and then the longest 12 weeks I've ever spent in any one location in San Angelo, Texas, where it was snowing in February when we got there, and it had gotten so hot by July that it melted all of the upholstery glue in my car, and all of the upholstery came out. I then I graduated in July of 2001. I was 8 months pregnant. I had my son September 10th of 2001. I was on maternity leave the day of 9/11. As an Arabic linguist in the Army, they don't even need to put that writing on the wall, right? I mean, that's a for sure thing. So between September and April, I had I think 12 weeks of maternity leave, and I came back and we immediately started preparing to go to Guantanamo. I spent 6 months from April 2002 to November of 2002 in Guantanamo Bay. I was there the day that they closed Camp Delta and closed Camp X-Ray and opened Camp Delta. That was the basically cages that they had, and then they put them in a full detainment facility. I did not have a hard job. I will tell you that as far as deployments go, that one was pretty cake. I worked 8 to 4 Monday through Friday, translating hard copy letters, incoming and outgoing mail. And I snorkeled and scuba dove on my days off. And I was very involved with the Catholic Church on base, and I happened to speak Spanish. So I got involved with the refugee operations that were going on in my spare time. So I didn't really have a lot of time to be upset about having my brand new baby at home. So here's to my husband, who had a teething, pooping Jonathan machine at home, taking care of that war, which I'll tell you was significantly worse than any war that I was fighting at the Tiki Bar. I came home in November. Things go fast. You get home in November. February 14th, we got our warning orders that we were going to Iraq in April, and we left on April 1st. So the following April, I deployed to Iraq. I was in El Asad Air Base. The little call out there is Ain al Asad. That's El Asad Air Base. Haditha, Hit, Ramadi, Fallujah. Those are my stomping grounds. I was incredibly fortunate. I got to do some pretty amazing things. I was signals intelligence in the Army, but there was no SIGINT, but we always joke there was no SIG to INT because there was no Army, right? There was no signals to intercept or to do intelligence work on. So we built schools and immunized kids and rebuilt the infrastructure all day long. And then at night I ran detainee ops, and it was pretty much the best of all possible worlds, where I got to work all day long with people who weren't trying to kill me. And I got to work all night long taking care of the people who were trying to kill me. It was really kind of the best thing. The pictures that I just showed are on the left here. That's some of the ruins from the Roman era that are along the Euphrates in El Asad Air Base. And on the right is Jubba, which is a little island there. Jubba has the only girls' school at that time, the only all-girls high school and middle school. And it was actually run by the sheikh of the area. His daughter's name is Fatima. She was my little love bug, and she followed me around everywhere. And I put these pictures in here because obviously there are pictures that I wouldn't show you, pictures that I didn't take, pictures that unfortunately, when I was Googling images to put in here, trying to find some stuff from my unit, it did bring up some bad memories. So I'm not going to try to sugarcoat it and say that there wasn't bad stuff, but I want people to know that this is truly the reason right here. That little girl right there is the reason that I continued every single day to make sure that we kept rebuilding the school when it was bombed, that we kept rebuilding the water station every time it was bombed, and that we kept making sure that every time they pulled down the high tension power lines to steal the copper to sell it, we'd put them back up, right? Because it's about more than any of the political things that happen. It's about those big brown eyes right there. Who I am today, as I'm sitting in my office still at 7:30 at night. I'm a senior capture manager for a mid-tier government contractor. We have about 700 employees. I'm also the vice president of the Cyan Group, which is a small, very small firm that does private security and targeted research to ensure that people are safe online and in all of their business dealings. And this is where I've been. It's been kind of a long, strange ride if you start at the bottom right? Cryptologic linguist in the Army. And then I went to work for Chenega down in Miami, Florida, running the exact same mission that I was running when I was at Guantanamo, getting paid a heck of a lot more. Very nice. I had an Army girlfriend who was working for a small company called the Emerging Technologies Group in Herndon, Virginia. And she called me and she was like, oh my gosh, you got to come work with us. It's amazing here. So I was employee number 37 at that company. We were then bought by Mantech. I moved back to Michigan, but they kept me on for a little bit. I moved back to Michigan, and when I came back, there was no true analyst work for me to do, so I weaseled my way into a business development and capture management job, and I've kind of been stuck there since. Jokingly, I do bounce back and forth between capturing new work and capturing bad guys, and that makes me happy. I was a program manager at Blackbird Technologies, which was then bought by Raytheon, and then I was a recruitment counselor for a small cybersecurity company. But all of that kind of adds up to where I am today, which capture management is perfect for me because I like to stick my nose into everything, and it allows me an avenue for doing that. I think that's all of the slides. It is all of the slides that I have. I talked a lot. It's odd when you guys are all on mute because I feel like I'm talking to a wall. Talking to a wall. Jerry laughs every once in a while though, so. So I kind of.
Does this help if I try to chime in?
What's that?
I said, does this help if I try to chime in?
Yeah, I was just gonna say. So I kind of flew through that. There's a lot of stuff, right? So if you guys have any specific questions about, I almost said anything that I missed, as if you would know. Jerry would know if I missed anything. But.
Hey, Amanda, would you unshare your screen now and we can all see each other? And you guys are welcome to mute and unmute yourselves as need be. I just realized talking with her, or just now when I had everybody muted and everything else, it is a little tough to talk to a group when everybody's on mute, and that's a little awkwardness in our
probably
platform here, but it's a necessary evil we work with. So please, if you got a question of Amanda, please go ahead.
It's just an incredible story, Amanda. I'm very much impressed.
Thanks, Jerry. And it's funny. It's hard to put that stuff together, right? Maybe it's a Midwestern thing. I don't know, but it's hard to talk about yourself.
Are you still in the reserves?
I am not. So I ETS. I got out of the Army in 2004, and I was in active reserve until 2008. And I thought for sure that I was going to get called back up, but I never did. I think potentially because I was actively supporting the mission still. But no, not in the reserves. I made a conscious decision not to join because the operations tempo when I was active duty was so high. And with having two kids, I had my daughter Maggie shortly after I got out of the Army. With having two kids, I just, I owed it to my husband to stay home and be a mom for a bit. Well, and I wanted to see them a little bit more often.
Would your position have been a troop unit or an individual mobilization augmentee?
I would have been an individual augmentee with the Arabic background. Yep.
Yeah.
That would mean you'd have been deployed quite a bit.
Yeah, I would have been deployed quite a bit, even if I had joined, being here just outside of the NSA, and even if I had joined one of the intelligence units for the reservists here, there's no way that I would have stayed stateside.
Can I ask who your number one client's been with all these private companies?
We are bound by NDA not to speak about any of our companies that we do business for on the Cyan Group side. We do primarily board members for Fortune 500. We were approached by the NRA to do some of the board members for the NRA. I can say that one. We can speak openly about it. But yeah, it's been kind of cool. It's interesting. I scare the absolute snot out of my kids, having teenage kids, being able to show them, hey, you guys, you know how you think you deleted all that stuff from your Snapchat? Let me show you how it comes up when I do this search right here. That's kind of fun.
You leave us wonder if maybe you should star in that movie that was Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jamie Lee Curtis a while back.
No, I speak way better Arabic than that.
Jerry, you're out of line. Jamie Lee Curtis got naked in that movie. You're out of line.
Oh, I don't even remember that. Now I got to go back and watch.
No, it's pretty. We watched that movie. God, we probably watched that movie 5 times while I was at the language school.
It's a great movie.
I watched Sneakers for the first time the other night, and I laughed my way through it because I'm like, I know all of this stuff.
Amanda, what was your last motorcycle?
My last motorcycle was a 1974 Harley Sportster. It was painful to ride. A little bit chilly to ride in Michigan in the winter, so it turned into a Buick Skylark.
Any motorcycle in the future?
There will definitely be a motorcycle in the future, but I actually, this week has been crazy. Part of the reason my slideshow was a little lacking. We put an offer in on a house on Sunday. It was accepted on Monday. We went through inspection yesterday, and they're going through the appraisal today, and we close in 2 weeks. It's been crazy.
So now you have a place to park it.
I do, and so that's what I was going to say. Now that I have all my grown-up things taken care of, minus the kids going to college, but they'll figure that out. I think I can probably get a motorcycle now. I'm leaning towards a Triumph, actually.
Oh, wow.
As blasphemous as that might be in this group.
Hey, by the way, happy birthday yesterday.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Glenda.
Happy belated birthday. Happy belated birthday.
Shall we all sing to her?
No.
Yes.
Lead us off.
Maybe she should sing to us.
Doesn't do much singing anymore.
Well, how was it banana? Was it banana pudding and bourbon or bread pudding and bourbon or?
It
We
was,
got some, guys, we got a lot of feedback again. If you can unmute if you're not happy. A lot of feedback. Mute. There we go.
it was Linda.
So what was it?
My husband and I had a very romantic date last night. We had dinner at Wegmans, which is a grocery store near here. And on the way home, we decided that we were going to go to the local fish shack and have dessert. And I had homemade banana pudding and a double shot of neat Myers rum.
Nice.
Excellent.
I think the bartender about fell off her stool there when I ordered it.
Good deal.
Other questions?
Amanda, where exactly are you living now? Because I'm very familiar with your stomping ground up there in Northern Virginia.
Oh, okay, so I'm my office is in Tyson's Corner. I live in actually the new house is in Leesburg, Virginia, just off of Route 7 and 15.
Yeah, Route 7 used to be a 2-lane road.
Yeah, that's funny that you say that. We've been here since '06, and we've just watched it. We've watched it explode in the past even 10 years. And where we just built or are buying this new house is on Route 7, on a stretch of Route 7 that no longer even has any stoplights. They've built flyovers for all the intersections for that because there's so much being built out west of DC now, so far out west.
And I just learned recently that I-66 is now a toll road costing commuters anywhere between $40 and $60 one way into DC for a day.
Yep, from the Beltway where my office is to DC is a toll road now. Nobody takes it. People are actually backing up. They're pulling over on the side of the expressway before the toll to wait for it to go down. It's creating a huge snafu. Civil engineering nightmare around here.
Back in the 60s, Dulles Airport used to be way out in the sticks. And Leesburg, nobody ever went to Leesburg. That was too far away.
Yeah, no, and my daughter goes to a school that was just built 3 years ago. She's got 450 in her graduating class. So, and these are not small schools. They're, I think within a 5-mile radius of my house, there are 7 high schools.
I graduated in '67 from Woodson High School in Fairfax, 917 seniors.
How many places for horses did they have, John?
For horses? This was Fairfax. Nobody had horses. least I didn't. I had an MGA.
But it was in the 60s.
67. Are you talking? All right, never mind. I just got it.
Hi, Amanda. This is
Other
Sarah.
questions for Amanda? Oh, Sarah.
Yeah, I missed a little tiny section of your story, and I would like to hear again about the transition from thinking that you were going to be speaking Spanish to getting into an Arabic language, and how long it took you to get up to speed with that Arabic language.
Yeah, so the military has an absolutely amazing language school out in Monterey, California. What they do when you join and you say, hey, I want to be a linguist, is they have you take a test where they basically teach you Esperanto for 4 hours, and your brain turns to mush, and you bleed from your eyeballs, and you walk out, you think that you failed it, and then they tell you, based on how you scored and what sections you scored well in, which languages you're capable of learning. I did pretty well. And so the needs of the military is what dictates which language you'll take. I probably should have seen the writing on the wall in '99 when they put me in Arabic. The language school out in California is 5 days a week and roughly 8 hours a day in class with another 4 hours a day of homework. And they take you from this is the letter Aleph to I had to defend my position on abortion and gun control orally for my exam. And
wow, I think most people would think that's deadly, but I think that I wish I could do that program. That sounds great.
Oh, it was amazing. Honestly, I would love to go back now, like appreciating it, right? Because at 19 years old, the last thing I appreciated was being stuck in a classroom for 8 hours a day and yelled at in a language I didn't understand. But yeah, I would love to go back.
The school she's attended is an extreme honor to be attending there. It really is.
It was an absolutely amazing experience and funny story. Being here in DC, I run into people I know all the time. Like I jokingly, I joke. So the woman who owned the company that I worked for when I first moved up here is now the CEO of this company. Full disclosure, she's one of my closest friends. But she, I joke like she's known me since I was 25, right? She's known me for 143 years. And I was in a meeting the other day, and this gentleman walked in from Battelle, which is another big government contractor, and he shook my hand, and we kind of gave each other the side eye. And like, oh, nice to meet you. And we both kept doing that. I know you from somewhere, look. And about 45 minutes in, I mentioned that I went to the language school, and I spoke Arabic, and he laughed, and he said, when were you at the language school? And I was like, 99 to 01. Is that why you look so familiar? I thought you looked familiar. And he said, I was your first sergeant.
Sounds like you tried to forget that.
Well, and he said, but your last name wasn't Windle. Like, no, it was Bealby. And he went, Bealby. Didn't I give you an Article 15?
Wow.
That was me. I just missed curfew. That was all it was. He's like, no, there was more to that story. I'm like, no, that's all there was.
I want to hear the rest of that story.
So no, I honestly just missed curfew. I missed curfew because I split my pants. We were at the club, and I wasn't coming back because I knew that they were doing a health and welfare inspection, and I wasn't going to walk in with the first sergeant there with my rear end hanging out. Me and 30 some other people. We got off of that one pretty lenient.
I'm a first sergeant.
So actually, Joe Paul was that first sergeant who is now retired Command Sergeant Major Joe Paul, who was Command Sergeant Major of INSCOM, Intelligence and Security Command here in DC. So just small world, and he happens to be.
I know him.
Do you?
I know him.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Well, oddly. And he happens to be from the world's worst place in the entire United States, Columbus, Ohio. So, do we have any of those people on tonight? Those Ohio people?
Well, those Ohio people?
The state below.
Go on, David, respond.
That would be my wife.
All right. Columbus is a great town. Have a good football team.
I would get strung up and I would have my Michigander status permanently revoked if anybody heard me say this, but I actually really enjoy the town of Columbus. I stayed at a hotel once as a former marching band geek, I stayed at the hotel that has the museum in the bottom floor for the best damn band in the land. So.
Well, if
And I took
I-
What instrument did you play?
You know, and a couple times.
What instrument did you play, Amanda?
I was a clarinet player.
I was trumpet.
Mr. Grunberg, you had a question.
Well, I was just going to say, once I graduated from high school back in '79, I went to Troy Hobart School of Welding Technology, which is just north of Dayton. And not long ago, I had the opportunity to go over to Logan, Ohio, and I didn't realize they actually had hills and twisty roads compared to flat farmland.
That's much more fun to ride on. And you live in Lapeer now? Is that what you said?
Yes.
My whole family's from Imlay City in Lapeer. My
Oh.
Output Music is owned by my cousin Tommy, who was my DJ at my wedding.
Well, I've lived in Royal Oak most of my life, a little bit of Northville, to the point where I was so young I didn't know, and Brown City.
Yeah, that's actually where my
Little
family's
bit
from,
of-
Brown City.
Okay. Yeah. Ken Brown was the mayor. And I got a chance to know him a little bit. Real nice guy. Unfortunately, he passed on, so salutes to him.
Yep. So that my mom's one of 9, and her dad was one of 13. So I'm pretty much related to all of Lapeer.
The joys of a small town.
No, it's funny. So back to the walking into freshman year, 2 weeks into the school year, I walked into the high school that both of my parents graduated from. I walked into first hour, and Mr. Hetherington, the science teacher, looked at me and said, "You're one of those Schutz girls, aren't you?" Which is my mom's maiden name. And I said, "I am." He said, "Which one's your mom?" I said, "Jenny." Jenny was my mom. And he went, "Oh, she married one of those Bealby boys." She did, yes. Was it Mike? And he got all excited because my Uncle Mike was valedictorian and then graduated top of his class from Annapolis. And I said, "No, it was Keith." And he said, "Oh, you can sit in the front." That's the joys of small town living right there, that literally I knew everybody in Holly growing up. My Uncle Buster was chief of police. He pulled us over, my now husband of 18 years and I, in the front yard, or the front driveway of my parents' house, because we were spending too long in the car. When he dropped me off from a date, he pulled us over with lights and sirens to alert everyone that we were there. Good times. And people asked, they're like, "Why did you want to get out of there so fast?" Well,
Hey, I'm still here.
I know. I come
Actually, I'm out in the suburbs, right?
You are. Well, and it's grown up even out around you. Last time I was out there were houses and like a gas station and stuff.
I still got 10 acres surrounding me that keeps them away.
Yeah, the place that we just bought is a condo. I never thought I'd be a condo dweller, but I got 2 kids left, one that graduates next year and one in 4 years. And then I figure by that point I'll hopefully be rich and famous and we can move to the mountains and go to Vail.
Amanda, did I tell you Nikki and Cassie both moved back here in the last year?
Yeah. That must
Kind of screwed over my plans to move to North Carolina.
we could all go down. You could be the snowbird, Grandpa. Isn't that how it's supposed to work? Aren't you supposed to go?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go ahead and thank you very much for your talk with us tonight. I'm absolutely thrilled with the total membership we have and the range of people and the backgrounds and I'm just thrilled. This is going to be an exciting venture for us as we move forward. Long live our Rotary Club.
Absolutely.
And thank you, Amanda.
Cheers.
Guys.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Jay.
Okay. Switching off from this, I do want you to know that if I send something out this week, I'm hoping for an immediate response back from you folks, okay? It's going to be a little touch and go with Rotary International in terms of getting this pulled off this month. I do have the backup plan for the Satellite Club. It doesn't cost us anything other than just maybe a date and time is all in terms of when our actual charter date is. But I'll be on the phone with the right person at Rotary International tomorrow. I sent her an email just before our message tonight. I talked to her a week or 10 days ago as well. So it'll be a little tight going because on the 22nd of June is also when the International has their international convention in Toronto. So I'm hoping that the appropriate people that are going to sign off are around and we can get their attention. Or maybe it's a good thing. Maybe they just sign off and don't look at things. I don't know. But she has already looked over one time our proposed bylaws, and she liked them. So I think we're going to be on our way pretty decently, provided they can hit the time. Terry, you said something, but you're muted.
No.
Nope. Okay. So I don't have anything else to share. Does anybody else have anything to share this week?
I do. I am in at my son's house in Evansville, Indiana, celebrating the birth of his third daughter, who came about 3 or 4 days ago.
Congratulations.
Everything is good. We're having a wonderful time here. Have a couple more days to spend here, and then we head back to Mansfield, Ohio.
David, just before you came on, we made birth of a grandchild a $15 fine.
Really? Kind of cheap, isn't it? I mean, yeah. At least $16.
That's okay. Any other shares for the club?
Yeah, how you doing on staffing the booth at the convention?
It's a little tight. You know what? That's a good thing you said that, John. We have a member of IFMR that was going to the convention who is not going to be able to go now. He's already paid for a hotel room, and he's already paid for the convention fees. And he sent it out to, I know he sent it to me. He might have sent it to Chris as well. But he said, look, if there's somebody else that would like to go that expense is an issue, he's willing to give him his stuff gratis, okay? Second to that, I am on call to testify in a court case in Chicago. I'm running the booth from the 22nd through the 27th, okay? And I'm planning on being there the full time. So there's an outside chance that I'm going to get called away to fly back into Chicago and testify in a court case I'm involved with. So that in mind, we're starting to work up a backup plan for somebody to be able to take over for me at the booth and stuff. So if there's somebody here, those two things happen about the same time. So if there's somebody here that would like to go to the international convention, and it's already funded, and I've already got a job for you, I'd really like to know that.
Gary, I was looking just yesterday that our two booths are about 3 booths apart on the House of Friendship floor. So, you know, I will certainly help out wherever I can there.
I'm pretty flexible too, because a lot of the breakout sessions don't appeal to me. So, you know, as long as I get to one general session, I get to go around the House of Friendship. I'm pretty flexible.
Hopefully later this week I'll resolve what motorcycle's going in the booth. There's a chance we're going to have a brand new Harley in the booth instead of mine. And if I can pull that off, that's what's going to happen.
I like that.
What about a brand new Goldwing, Rory?
What's wrong with the Beamer?
Or an Indian.
Or a brand new Goldwing and parts on the table.
There you go.
Oh,
Ron,
I love it.
I gotta ask that. Why is a brand new Goldwing in parts?
Put the trailer hitch on.
Okay. If that's
the trailer hitch
Start
came in
from the front wheel and work your way back.
Pardon?
Hey.
My parts are a little bigger than that, John.
What was
Can we
that?
Can we dispense with the banter a minute about motorcycles and maybe just spend a couple minutes on the last ride through Virginia, Harold?
Just a real quick thing.
Awesome.
There's Rory's motorcycle, guys.
Oh my God.
He's not afraid of getting into it, is he?
No, sure.
No assembly required.
Does that thing come with batteries?
Got instructions.
I'm sorry, I interrupted there. What was the call, the discussion there?
The spring ride
About
that
the longest motorcycle
John put
ride.
on last week. It was awesome.
Who's going to
Kudos.
talk about it? I've heard all sorts of fantastic things back. John, to you, my friend.
Thank you. I got to give half the credit to Bob Schreiner, though. He knew some of those back roads up until the day of Friday. It was the routes were still undecided, but he was a good leader. We had some really good weather. It started to rain on Saturday. We all put on our wetsuits, and then the rain stopped for the rest of the day.
A couple of times.
I think the worst thing we had was coming out of a gas station. Somebody stalled and tipped over their bike. And that's the worst accident we had.
Yeah. It was a good.
Anybody else want to comment on the ride?
It was a phenomenal weekend. Drove 800 kilometers just to do a 400 kilometer ride for 2 days. It was well worth it, wasn't it, Glenda?
Yes, it was fantastic. The curves and mountains are unbelievable. And I give Bob kudos for, he just goes like a bat out of hell through those roads. So.
Yes.
Bob tends to be a little fast.
Yeah, well, I certainly enjoyed, that was a great ride. First time I've ever been on a ride that was so well organized. You guys are just great, great riding and great fellowship in the evening.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on a ride this fall somewhere?
I thought you were looking at that one, the Waterfalls of Michigan.
I am, but how would you guys feel about if I did that one? That one's already kind of a pre-canned ride, but if we did that one, there's a good chance I won't be able to do a pre-ride for it. So how would you feel about that?
Well, you've already been on it, haven't you?
No, I have not. But it's well laid out, I think.
Whereabouts is this taking place?
It's in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. There's a number of waterfall rides. It'd be a 2-day ride. It'd be one day going across towards Minneapolis and the other day coming back or thereabouts. Somewhere, I think it started in Sault Ste. Marie, if I remember right, or thereabouts.
Well, not long ago, I stopped over at Tequamanon Falls up there in Paradise, Michigan.
We did that. We went up there. That was one stop on our ride that we did 2 springs ago, was it, Rory and Judy? I think.
It was.
Yeah.
David, yeah, David remembers that ride back across that bridge.
I've been looking into
that was one of those lean in the wind, hope it doesn't change.
You know, you told me all about the wind on that bridge, and I went across, and it was a piece of cake, and I thought, what the heck is he talking about?
Yeah, there about 15 years ago, a Yugo got blown off of it.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah. No,
it might have been
wasn't.
20 years ago. I'm getting older now.
I agree. I've been across that bridge and it was very calm at the time, but I dare say there could be some nasty winds on that bridge.
I believe you.
For John, if it's not a muddy road, he just doesn't know what it is.
Just before I signed on, Dave sent me on Facebook a picture of a sign, which I love. It says, "Your GPS is wrong. Turn around."
I saw that. That was excellent.
That was. I need to go get that sign, Dave. Where'd you find it?
On Facebook.
We need to get some rides going out in the West sometime. So if anybody's interested in Eastern Oregon in mid-September, let me know.
Well, that'd be cool. Now you got that ride scheduled right now, right?
Yeah, Baker City, Oregon. It's more of a dental ride, but it's it's open to anybody. So anybody would be welcome.
I should consider doing that. I have to go back and look at my schedule and see what I could work out. I will tell you guys, I'm going to probably become, in fact, Rory and Judy and I are all going to become a little bit, scant of July and August on this page, because we take off June 3rd. I take off June 30th, and we take off July 1st for 6 weeks to Alaska and back.
Nice.
And we're planning on swinging by and seeing Linda if she's still in that area. And somebody else. Rob, was it you that we were talking about maybe seeing up in Minnesota? Is that where you were? Rob, did you hear me on that?
No, I'm in Maryland.
Maryland. No, there's a different guy that was on before. Anyway.
Side note, Rob, was it you that came up with the name tags?
Yes, I can do those.
Oh, cool.
For anybody.
He had these available for, I think, almost all the riders that he knew about.
Yeah.
These are just so cool.
That was excellent.
Although you have to understand, it is written in the correct format. It looks backward to me. But thank you so much.
Glad to help out. We really appreciated the ride and looking forward to the next one.
I'm starting to look at things in West Virginia, Western Pennsylvania, Ohio.
I'm doing a tour this August.
Working with Bob Schreiner. He knows all. What was that, Bruce?
I'm looking at a few routes out towards Belleville, Ontario, which is Tweed, northeast Ontario. Towards Ottawa, there's some nice routes that Blair Campbell has put me on. So my wife and I are heading out there this August to see what we can find. I doubt it'll happen this fall. Maybe September, maybe next fall.
By the way, what did you guys put tariffs on this week?
I don't know.
GPS units.
What did you guys put tariffs on this week?
Steel and aluminum.
Okay. And bullshit.
Is it real news?
Oh.
How are you, Harold?
Excellent.
Good, man.
I've got my new cards that came in for the convention. That's kind of I don't know if you can see it, that's kind of the new symbol that we're kicking around. We're going to have a couple of different possible new symbols for IFMR that we're going to display at the convention, see what kind of feedback we get. And I put on the back of the card.
Oh, very good.
So we can have that contact as well.
Is that the one you sent out a couple of weeks ago?
No, I didn't actually. I don't think.
Why don't you send that one out again?
Oh, you mean the symbol? When we had it on, I had that symbol out.
You had sent out a draft business card.
Oh, no, this is a different one entirely. This one I got from Vistaprint, so it's already available online to change. I'll have to go look at that and see what you all think or can do that. They also gave me the option of buying a hat, so I'll be wearing a hat at the convention as well.
I do have to tell you one thing about Harold. Harold doesn't speak much at these meetings, but he cracked me up at dinner every day. He's a funny guy. Good stories about cops and life in general. And I enjoyed the fellowship there, Harold.
That's a good introduction there, John, because Harold's our speaker in 2 weeks.
Oh, well, I don't want to steal his thunder then.
No problem. I'll find some more thunder.
And then he showed off by doing little short, tight circles in the parking lot.
That's a trademark.
Trademark of what?
Having fun on two wheels.
There you go. Perfect.
It's called the level of confidence and enjoyment. Terry understands it.
Well, I'm supposed to take that cop training here in the next couple of weeks.
That's awesome.
The riding, I've had to put it off twice.
Which course is it?
Don't put it off.
It's a
Full
safety
rider?
course offered by motorcycle cops.
Don't put it off.
No, I was supposed to take it the week before the ride, but of course my bike was in the shop, and they insist that you have a motorcycle when you take that.
Yeah.
So
I'll be real interested to see what your feedback is on that one. I did a cop course 4 or 5 years ago. Must have been 5 years ago now. My skills went way up, but I wouldn't repeat that course ever again.
Why is that?
The attitude of the instructors was, number one, Harley Davidson is everything.
No.
And number two, they had this militant attitude. It was a motor. It wasn't a bike, and some other stuff. But they also missed some things when they should have done up front. But all in all, though, to give them credit, my skills went way up after taking that course. There is one. I was just sharing with somebody today. There's one that I'm planning on doing sometime. I was going to do it last year, and then my stuff got up. There's a pro rider course anyway. They put you on your motorcycle, and they work you through doing turns properly. Getting your butt off, getting your knee down, all that stuff. And they do it on your own bike, and it's not moving. They'll get 6 people in the class around you, and they'll tilt you and move you and
really
have you work it all through. So that's a course I want to do someday too. So I'm really interested in your course, and we'll look forward to hearing your response after you've done it.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. It's this week or next week, rain or shine.
Very cool.
If I could chime in,
please.
On Mother's Day, I did the Ride Like a Pro, and then the Saturday, the day before, I did the MSF class.
Good.
And that was a lot of information to take in, and I had to end up putting a new clutch in my bike.
Yeah, it'll burn off the clutch.
I also, hole in the wallet too. But besides that, there is the Harley Davidson's 115th anniversary taking place in late August, and me and the missus are signed up to go to Racine over at Nash Indian Motorcycle for another Guinness Book of World Record. So we're looking forward to being out there.
Well, guys, it's past 8 o'clock. I love this meeting. Let it go on for as long as we can. I'm going to stop the recording right now because I know that ends up taking a lot of space on the computer.